The series is based on a best-selling criminal mystery novel. It is written by Frank Talley, and the story is set in the early 1900s in the Austrian metropolis of Vienna. We see Detective Inspector Oskar Reinhardt, who teams up with a young doctor, Max Lieberman. Together they solve murder mysteries. The character of Max believes in the theories of Sigmund Freud. We all know Sigmund Freud is known to be the father of psychology. Max assists Oskar in profiling murder suspects. In the series, we have so far seen Lieberman working as a psychiatrist. He is enlisted by Oskar to help investigate 3 different murder cases in Vienna. One is about a depressed Hungarian countess. Another is about a foreign scheme, and the last one involves a monastery. Basically, both of them solve unusual and surprising cases of murder and brutality. Recap to what happened in the previous seasons. We see the awkward yet wonderful friendship between Max and Oskar once again. We already know Max applies criminal psychology to solve cases. In criminal psychology, instead of looking for how the murder took place, one tries to understand why the murder took place. They see the world through the eyes of the criminal and how they would act in certain situations. It is a study of the minds of criminals. However, Oskar is seen using more traditional tactics to solve cases. Although, even he notices how brilliant Max's tactics are in the first season. Oskar observes how Max solves cases and catches up with him. The character of Max is fascinated by Freud's views about human behavior and believes in them, whereas Oskar gets an idea in his brain and follows it through. He mostly deduces his cases going by his instincts and experience. We can call them an odd pair together. One of the episodes in the previous season begins in the autumn of 1907 with the discovery of a melancholy Hungarian countess drowned in a bath. We know the Hungarian was depressed. Max had requested the countess to stop taking her prescribed medication. He begins a course of Freud's to cure her. However, she dies. This leaves Max shattered, and he joins Oskar to solve the case. They soon realize that the countess has been poisoned. Max and Oskar set out to find the killer soon after. The relationship between Max and Oskar. In Season 2, we see Max solving the case of his own patient. Max and Oskar further solve some terrible murders. This season focuses a lot on the 2 men's budding friendship. In Season 1, we see how their methods are different, and they do not connect so quickly. The sequences where we see Max and Oskar bonding in this season are so well played off by the actors. Between the 2 main characters, there is a third important character. It is the city of Vienna. The series was shot on location in Vienna for a large portion of its production. It gave the audience a virtual tour of the city. In terms of history and culture, the TV series demonstrates how Vienna was a hotspot for tourists in the early 1900s. Also, Vienna was where Sigmund Freud developed psychoanalysis. Much of what happened in the history of Vienna helped it develop so intellectually in the present Western world and civilization. Now, the city's multi-ethnicity, the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsing, and the increasing tide of anti-Semitism in Vienna are all hinted at in the second season. The series is known to be a historical document, which is why it is so loved. The monastery's mystery. In the Season 2 finale, we see the case of a monk. Oskar tries to do his best to help Max with his inquiry within the monastery. On the advice of the archivist Fraulein Lindner, he went to the city museum to examine the monastery's architectural drawings. Further into the series, we see suspicion rest on Isaac Korngold, who is a pious Jew. He had chastised the monk for promoting anti-Semitic comments. Following Oskar's arrest of the obvious suspect, the controversy pushes the Korngold family into bankruptcy. It jeopardizes Isaac's brother Jonah's forthcoming wedding to Clara Weiss. After this, Clara is left with no choice but to ask for help from her ex-boyfriend Max. We then see Max in the guise of a monk as he goes undercover and conducts an investigation. Meanwhile, Oskar's inquiry puts him at odds with Commissioner von Bülow, who believes that Max is obstructing his probe into a Jewish revenge murder. We see Max setting out to find a secret chamber leading to the sacristy. However, we witness he is being followed by his ally's brother Killian. Oskar has entrusted him with keeping an eye on Max. Then we see Max observing a breeze fluttering their candle flame as they travel together and locate a doorway in a cupboard. The doorway leads to a parkland that is speckled with bloodstains. There, Max discovered blood from Stanislav's murder. They deduce that the monks must have brought Stanislav's body into the sacristy. Further into the monastery's investigation, Max deduced that someone wrote to Stanislav asking to see a relic from the sacristy, and he took it outside and was killed. However, von Bülow is still certain that a Jewish ritual is being performed and that David, the monk, was murdered by an Isaac accomplice, perhaps even Max. While Isaac is in prison, regardless of the speculations, Oskar obtains a warrant to search the sacristy. Now, someone murdered David, made both of their deaths appear to be Christian martyrdoms, and hid the Hebrew runes and the paper in Korngold's bank. Only one person could have had access there and benefited from the crime being blamed on Isaac. It was Strabel. Strabel went to the monastery and killed the monk. recalling Isaac's threat against him. Knowing there was a witness, he had no choice but to kill David. He was able to purchase Korngold's bank after all this. Max and Oscar yet again solve the mystery. When they confront Strobel, he raises a sword against Oscar. But Max distracts him by throwing his hat, and Oscar grabs and cuffs the Strobel. After that, Isaac is released. Without Jonas's knowledge, Clara pays a visit to Max to express her gratitude, and the season wraps up there. When is Vienna Blood Season 3 releasing? The Season 2 finale of Vienna Blood aired on Christmas Eve. After the season ended, everyone has been wondering about the release date for Season 3. Well, unfortunately, nothing has been confirmed by the creators of the show yet. The BBC has not come out to say whether or not they are making a third season. However, the series is receiving lots of love, so we hope it renews for another season. Each episode is based on one of the 6 books in Frank Talley's Lieberman book series, so it is evident that there is plenty of source material to examine and explore. It is very much possible that a Season 3 is in the making, keeping in mind that there are 6 books. Who is in the cast of Vienna Blood Season 3? Well, we will see Max Lieberman being played by Matthew Beard, whereas the role of Oscar Reinhardt will be portrayed very magically by Jurgen Mora. Along with these 2 main characters, we will see Clara being played by Louise von Fink and Rachel Lieberman being played by Amelia Bullmore. Last but not least, Mendel Lieberman will be seen being played by Connella Hill.